Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today, let's take a look at the latest generation for the Porsche Panamera 4. Huge shout out to Hendrick Porsche Charlotte for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. This Panamera is finished off in Lugano Blue. MSRP with all the options is just over $137,000. Now this is powered by the 2.9 liter twin turbo V6 paired to an 8-speed dual clutch automatic, and it pumps out 349 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels, propelling this 4,300-pound sedan from 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. It has a top speed of 168 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 23.7 gallons. You'll expect to see 18 miles per gallon in the city and 25 out on the highway. Now this also has a wheelbase of 116.1 inches. Its overall length is 198.9. It has a width of 76.3, a height of 56, and its lowest ground clearance is right around 5 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling, this has a very beautiful design to it, especially with the blue. Now, up front, there's a forward-facing camera along with a sensor for the distance pacing. There's also active grille shutters tucked away behind that opening, along with all of the parking sensors. Now you'll notice two large inlets on both sides. There's also gloss black trim accents with the vertical DRL and turn signal. The upper housings are just going to be the headlights and the high beams. They have a nice dark design to them to blend in nicely. There's also a few lines that come down the hood and that secondary cutout just in the upper section there. Now, as we move on to the side, this has the optional 21-inch wheels that are gloss black. Really nice design for the gray brake calipers there. And this also has an adaptive suspension that can raise and lower. So just depending on your ground clearance, aerodynamics that you want, that will provide you with all of that. There's also a trim accent just behind that with some really nice lines that go down the side. And this has power folding side mirrors with a camera and a turn signal. Really cool design for the base of them too. You'll notice there's also a body colored lower side skirt that protrudes outward slightly just to give it a nice look. And then you'll notice gloss black for the roof. This does have a dual pane sunroof, as I will show later. There's also some more black accents for the window trim there. And then as we move on to the back, I have the active spoiler currently deployed at the moment. There's also LEDs for all of the lighting. You'll notice the backup camera, all the parking sensors, and then the quad tip dual exhaust, which also has bronze exhaust tips, which is another option to go with. Now you can also use the key fob or the button up underneath. And this has a power rear hatch. So it doesn't have a traditional trunk opening. That provides you with a lot more rear cargo space. Now you have some small cutouts on both sides. There's also a little bit of storage underneath the floor. And you can also fold down the back seats. You can remove that cover if needed. So that way you can fit in a lot more items, making this a practical vehicle, especially if it is your daily driver. And then there's two buttons up top to either close that or you can lock the vehicle too. Now, if you do lock it, just grab any of the 4 door handles to unlock it. And then this model has a full leather interior. You'll notice the trim accents, lock and unlock, your window controls, Bose audio, and then a little bit of storage down below. And then with these rear seats, you also get the Porsche logo up in the headrest there, and a really nice sporty design even for the rear passengers. Now at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. You do get storage nets behind both front seats. There's 2 air vents in the middle, and then underneath that, look at all of the controls that you have. There's the fan speed along with temperature dials. You also have where you'd like the air to go, heated seats too, and there's also a rear sunshade. So you can activate that as needed and then lower it just to get a little bit more protection from the sun. Now you can use this middle button for 2 different settings. Push on the bottom and it will do the rear sunshade. Push on this control up top and now that same control will activate the sunshade. So pretty neat to see that dual purpose for the middle button, and then you have your separate controls, of course, for each passenger. Now there's also a little bit of storage behind that, and then you also have a small armrest that you can open up where it reveals 2 cup holders. You can also fold down this middle seat if you would like, just for any reason. You have that option. You also have a good bit of visibility with the glass on both sides of that pillar. And then at my height, I have maybe 1.5 inches or so of headroom. These seats sink down just a little bit to give you that added headroom. So it's very comfortable to be in the back. And you can have a middle passenger. You would just have a leg on both sides of this. So it is going to be a comfortable 4-seater and a 5-seater when you need it. And then as we work our way up front, you have memory seating adjustments, window controls, along with the power adjustments for the side mirrors and a little bit more storage down below. You'll notice Panamera 4 on the door sill, and then a very nice design for these sporty style seats. They are automatic, so all of those controls are down on the side, and there's also a very low door sill, so it's very easy to enter and exit. Now, with most Porsche models, that start button is on this left side, so with my foot on the brake, let's bring this to life. And coming back to the digital gauge cluster now, you have a lot of settings that you can go through using these controls on the right side. So I'm just going to start using the scrolling dial where we can change the entire gauge cluster with multiple different settings here, just depending on the information that you would like to see. Now, if I use the button to the right of this scrolling dial, we can go to either the left side or the right side and go through a little bit more information. So over on the left side, we can scroll through a little bit there, and then you can also get over to the right side too and scroll through some of that information. So it's really helpful just depending on what you need to see for the day. And you can also go through the head-up display with the distance pacing. So you can adjust and pull up some of those settings as well. Now there's also paddle shifters on both sides. You do have a control for the driving modes, so there's normal and sport. On the left side, you have voice commands along with a favorites button and volume. And then there's also the cruise control setting down below with your distance pacing. Now on this left side, there's rear fog lights along with headlight adjustments, so you can go through those as needed. There's also one air vent, and then leather for the entire dash, and a full infotainment system with a lot of information. So you have a split view there, as well as all of these icons that you can get into. If you go under vehicle, you have your driving mode, so you can activate that. You can get into your chassis, also the suspension, and then engine start stop and that rear spoiler. You also have some daily driving information that you can get into, including some of your passenger controls there. There's also more shortcuts on this left side, so you can further get through all this information, including having your phone paired, and then you have a shortcut to get into this driving information. Now to the left of that, this is how you shift. So all the way up is for reverse, where you have a 360 camera system, so you can go through quite a lot with all of these various angles. You have drive, manual setting, and then park above that. There's also air vents underneath that, and then all of your climate adjustments are nicely laid out with these toggles. So you have fan speed, temperature, there's also heated and ventilated seats, and then you have a climate menu that you can get into where you can also adjust the rears as well. So you can do that from up front, you can go into the air quality along with the ventilation and go through all of those settings. You have volume just behind that along with some other defrosters, and then you have wireless charging along with some auxiliaries tucked away. You get two cup holders. There's also an auxiliary in the center armrest there where you have storage. There's also plenty of storage in the glove box, and your passenger also gets their own screen. So you have some icons here along with that split view, very similar to the infotainment system. You can pull up the nav, music, and your phone when you have that paired, and then you have some performance information that you can take a look at. You can also pair headphones to the system and turn that screen off if you would like to. Now you do have garage door buttons up top, and then dome lights and controls for the sunshade, and that rear one, of course, you saw from the back. And then here's a look at visibility over both shoulders, where it is very easy to see, even with that rear design. As we set off behind the wheel now for the Porsche Panamera, it's been quite a few years since I've been able to drive this model. This is a really nicely spec'd model as well. We have a lot of options. I will put those down in the description below just so that way you can see all of those in better details, along with, of course, seeing them in today's video. But this is a very cool sedan hatchback-ish vehicle to drive because you get that extra cargo space, making this a very practical daily driver, but you still also get the performance from being a Porsche, of course, and having a good bit of power and having so many different settings where you can set this up the way that you would like depending on the driving that you are doing. So with it in sport mode and the manual setting, let's give it a small acceleration, where it's not crazy loud, but it's definitely quick for that mild acceleration, and the paddle shifters are going to be very, very quick in their shifts. Porsche is known for having a really good automatic transmission that shifts very, very nice. So if you are looking for that added performance there, you don't have to use them, of course, but you have a very good transmission for this model. It's also pretty spacious too, more of a four-seater, but you have that fifth seat if you need it. And as you would expect from Porsche, it's going to be well refined. So I get to drive a lot of luxury focused vehicles, and I know that this is going to be a very comfortable, smooth driving vehicle to daily drive with some of those added performance characteristics. Now, in terms of the driver's seat here, I'm 5'10". I have maybe 2 inches or so of headroom, and we do have a height adjustment for the seat. So if you are taller than me, you could still fit comfortably and get this seat nice and comfortable. Very good bolstering support on both sides too. They're definitely going to hold you well for a nice performance style but daily driving seat. And this is a really fun vehicle to drive. I wish we could do some more performance driving with it just to see its handling characteristics and everything like that. But we also have a lot of good tech features for this as well. So if you're looking for something that will give you a lot of tech, we don't have too many buttons though, which is really nice. I know from a lot of new models coming out today, a lot of people are going away from physical buttons, but Porsche still has all of the important physical buttons nicely laid out down below. So you can quickly get to all of those, and then it's very easy to use both of those screens. So I think it's a really good combo between all of the tech and still some of the user-friendly information. And we're still in sport mode, just normal drive. Here we go. And just a mild acceleration. As you heard, not all that loud, but we have a lot more performance, of course, than what I'm doing today. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the Panamera FOURR. You also have a few other trim levels that you can go with, just depending on the money that you'd like to spend, the options that you want to get. You have quite a lot that you can spec this, so that way you can have the perfect trim level. And as you would expect, very comfortable and quiet. I love all of the refinements, all of the materials are what you would expect, especially for the price point. And you're just getting a very nice, luxury-focused daily driving vehicle that's also going to give you some of those performance characteristics. Now, you can go with some higher performance levels, again, just depending on what you are looking to get. But I think this has an adequate amount of power for what you are getting for this vehicle. And it's just a really comfortable place to be. But that is going to wrap it up for the Porsche Panamera FOURR. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick Porsche Charlotte for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.